Okay, so now let's learn the historical research method. How is this all done? How is a historical narrative written? First, examining relevant references of the available historical information, critically examining it. Second, to collect historical information, highlighting the process that leads to historical transitions, carrying out comparative analysis to collect all the historical information regarding that particular product I got from the ground, under the ground, understanding the references regarding time and space of the given historical events, and also various conceptual frameworks used in historical research method. Fourth, formulating relevant questions in view of historical references. After critically examining, after collecting all the historical information about that particular product, after understanding all the given references, I will then frame relevant questions, formulate hypotheses, and finally I will critically examine all the sources. And after critically examining all the sources, I will then clear all my doubts. Once all the doubts are cleared, I will finally make this document. This document is then called as historiography. So in short, what is historiography? Historiography is a writing of critical historical narrative after all the grounds of doubt is cleared. It is called as historiography. What are the methods of various disciplines useful in historical research? How do I do a research? I can do this research by using the knowledge of archaeology, by using books from the archives. What is archives? Archives is where you preserve all the historical records. Manuscriptology, epigraphy. Epigraphy is study of inscriptions. Analysis of lettering style. Linguistics is about the language. Numismatics. Numismatic is study of coins. And genealogy, that is the study of lineage, that is from the past to present. The next part is tradition of historiography. We have learnt about historical research method. We learnt about how it is critically examined. We also understood how it is critically examined. All the sources are critically examined. And finally, then a narrative is written. This narrative is called as historiography. A scholar who writes such a narrative is a historian. The historian cannot include every past event in his narrative. If I talk about World War I, a lot of things happened in World War I, but it is not possible for a historian to write all these events. So he will only highlight the main events. The inclusion and interpretation of historical events by the historian often depends on the conceptual framework adopted by him. What do I mean by this? If I talk about World War I, a lot of things must have taken place in World War I. World War I may let's take an example of World War II. Forget about World War I. World War II may a lot of World War II is all about Hitler and all. Hitler's life story, Hitler's love story, Hitler's hatred towards the Jews and all this. But then when I talk about World War II, I know a lot of information about Hitler. I will not write all the information about Hitler in World War II. I will only write all the relevant points related to Hitler in World War II. understanding, what will I do? I will first prepare a framework of my study and then finally include that in my study. I will not include all the events. The tradition of writing historical narrative, that is historiography, was not prevalent in the ancient societies. People during the ancient times never knew the art of writing. Does that mean nothing happened during the past time? Not possible. A lot of things must have happened. But then they never knew how to write. They wanted to share their information to us. They wanted to give information to the next generation. So how did they do this? They passed on the information in the form of cave paintings, storytellings, singing songs, or in the form of ballads. Let's take an example. I am a man from the ancient past time. Okay. All I want is to go for a hunt. My family wants food. So my family is hungry. My family is starving. So I need to go to the forest and hunt. So I decided to go for a hunt. Then I went alone. When I went alone, I came back home empty-handed and badly injured. So then the next day I decided that instead of going alone, I will go in a group. I managed to take 3 or 4 of my friends. I went to the forest and then I made a strategy. I made a plan how to kill that animal. I took a stick in my hand and then started hitting the animal. The animal was so strong that it started running behind us. We all ran home. The next day, we chalked out a better strategy and we decided that we'll all hide under the bush and then when we see the animal, we will attack this animal. The next day we went as per plan. We all hid in the bush, and when we saw the animal approaching us, we together attacked the animal, killed it, and brought the animal home. We all were happy. So I wanted to pass this to my future generation, to my kids. But then I didn't know the art of writing. So what did I do? I drew all the whole story on the cave walls from day 1. When I went alone, how I came back home. When I went in group without a plan, how I came back home. And the third day, with a proper strategy, how I came back home with the dead animal. So I explained this to my kids with the help of cave paintings. All these sources are traditional means. All these traditional means are thus looked upon as sources of history in modern